Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So we're back with a Tristana updated complete guide. Now I think that there's this new insane build that you guys can go for on Tristana that I think is just absolutely amazing. And we're going to get into talking about the build just in a little bit. But what are my thoughts on Tristana? I think Tristana is still really strong. Although I feel that Tristana is one of those champions like Lucian or Samira that you have to be very familiar with the damage you're doing, because you're gonna have to jump in to do damage, especially in the early game. Like in the late game you can actually play front to back, but in the early game, to get your snowball rolling, you gotta jump in and do damage. So you have to be very familiar with how much damage you do. If not, when you jump in and try to put the bomb and blast someone, you can end up dying. And this is how a lot of Tristana lanes go wrong. That you jump in, you're supposed to get the kill, but instead you get killed instead, enemy survives, and it just all goes wrong from there. Happened to me many times as well, but basically, as long as you're familiar with Tristana's damage, she has a very good, very strong early game, especially with engaged supports, and you can get a couple kills early, you can snowball, and that will cover up for your weak mid game, and late game you are really strong. As we recently gone through on our range ADC ranges video, Tristana has the longest base attack range aside from Jinx's rocket form, but pretty much no one can outrange Tristana at max level. She's even higher range than Caitlyn. But anyways, let's go on to jumping in on the discussion about the build, runes and spells. So first up, of course we have the build. Now you guys can see the build here already. And basically, as you guys can see from the title as well, there's no STORMRAZER. So you guys might be thinking, what is going on here? Well, basically, number one, there's no STORMRAZER. Number two, there's completely no attack speed in this build. So this at first was a really sus build. When I first tried out this build, I was a little bit skeptical about how it would work. But basically, this build gives up a little bit of your early game because you don't have STORMRAZER, and you have a lot stronger mid and late games. So the first item we're gonna get, you can technically get Navori first or IE first, but personally I don't really like taking IE first. Like when I have completely no crit, I'm just not a fan of taking IE first item, so I like to take Navori first item. So Navori versus IE. With Navori you get slightly less AD, but you get the same crit chance and you get ability haste, and you also of course get your CDR coming from your attacks whenever you crit. Now of course, when you get Navori first item, you're not really going to be critting all that much because you only have 25% crit, but your first power spike is when you get your IE. Now this gives you, number one, it gives you 50% crit, and it also of course gives you increased crit damage, and from the Navori you're going to get the cooldown reduction because you're going to crit like half the time, and you get another big bonus bunch of AD. So this puts you to like 100 AD, like just from those two items itself. And then we get some boots, generally one of the defensive boots, because you're always going to jump in and put yourself in danger. And of course, generally you go for stasis as well. And then afterwards, we like to go for Lord Dominic's Regard. Of course, this gives you the AD, most importantly, the crit and armor penetration. And you also get a little bit of extra attack speed on one attack. And then we go for the Bloodthirster, again, more crit, more AD, and this time you get the physical vamp. So basically, what this build does is your early game is a bit more weaker because obviously STORMRAZER is a major power spike, whereas Navori is not. But when you get to 2 items, it's a huge power spike. 3 items, 4 items is all a huge power spike. Now you can swap these two around if the enemy team is not really very tanky yet, or the enemy team doesn't have a lot of tanks, then you could go swap the other of those. And then, of course, as the last item, I like to top it off with a Guardian Angel. Now when the Guardian Angel is down, you do have of course quite a number of options. Now you can technically go for another crit item. Like you can go for a static shiv, a rapid fire cannon, something like that. Or you can also go for some other attack speed like items, because you have no attack speed at the moment. So you can go for like a Blade of the Rune King, gives you even more lifesteal as well. Not too bad on Tristana. And you can also go for something like Maw of Malmortius or Wits, and both are good for different reasons. Maw gives you like more AD, etc. And by the time you reach like your last item, you're not really going to need the attack speed that much anymore because you're at full crit, so you have permanent attack speed from your Q anyway, so it's not too bad. But you can also go for Wits End if you just want some permanent like attack speed in the mix. But yeah, pretty much that's about it. You can also go for Death's Dance if you like, but not too good on marksman champions. So now we're going to talk about the runes. So first up, we go for Lethal Tempo. Now, aside from our Q, this is our only other form of attack speed. So the way we get our attack speed is we stack up Lethal Tempo, and we basically just have our Q permanently activated. After we reach like 2 to 3 items, your Q is permanently going to be activated, basically as long as you're attacking somebody. And then I like to go for Hunter Vampirism on my second rune. However, I've been lately I have been actually going for something like Brutal, for example, on my Domination rune, and instead I actually pick up an earlier Bloodthirster. Now here we have the Vam Scepter, sorry, not earlier Bloodthirster, earlier Vam Scepter, because the Vam Scepter gives you 10% physical Vam, which is like, you know, Bloodthirster gives you 15%, so 10% is already 2/3 of the Vamp that Bloodthirster is going to give you. Of course, Bloodthirster gives you a lot of other stats like crit, attack damage, etc., which is why you need it. But you can go for an earlier Vam Scepter. Now, how early am I talking about? Well, that is kind of the issue here. Because of the fact you're going for Navori first item, you have to get to IE as fast as possible to reach your power spike. So if you put your Vam Scepter in between, it sort of kind of sucks because it delays your power spike. But if you get it after IE, it's already kind of late. So that's why normally I do prefer to take Hunter Vampirism just for a little bit you know, of that lifesteal. But Brutal is an option as well. And afterwards, we also have Bone Plating, of course, to have the anti-burst. Also can go for something like Nullifying Orb or Hunter Titan if the situation is right, or if you prefer those. And I like to take Nimbus Cloak. Now, because with Navori Quick Blades, you don't need Hunter Genius at all, because you're permanently going to have your Q up, your W, and your E also comes up very often when you have Navori Quick Blade, so you don't need Hunter Genius. And aside from that, pretty much your best option is just simply going to be Nimbus Cloak. Nothing else in this category is something that Tristana really wants. I guess Sweet Tooth if you do want that, but Nimbus Cloak is my way to go. So now spells, we go for, of course, the Exhaust, and we go for the Flash standard ADC spells. But with all that out the way, we can jump straight into the gameplay. Okay, so here we have the gameplay itself. Now you guys can see that in this game, we are, of course, having a pretty strange team comp. I say strange because this is solo queue. So we have ourselves Leona support, which is of course good. You want to have engage, but actually let's talk about the team comp a bit later. Let's talk about what I'm doing here first. We got the controller, we're putting it in the bush, and why are we doing that? Well, because if they do something like what the Leona just did there, we can remove their ward. So that is exactly what we want. We just want to have vision of whether they put a ward in there. So here you see they didn't do that, and this is what is happening to them. Here they get the bomb placed on the Lucian. I get the full charge of the bomb onto the Lucian because of the Leona stun, and instantly they have lost lane at level 1. We also get rid of the ward that they placed in the bush, so we also get, like, you know, remove their vision. We get a little bit of extra, you know, free gold. Now if you put this control ward, you don't necessarily have to ward over. This is more defensive than offensive. Of course here they come and destroy it. Lucian can do it pretty easily with his double shot on his passive, but you know, at this point, you know, we've pretty much won level 1 here. You guys can see afterwards, now we can just go in and we can just easily pick up the kill on the Lucian. Actually, it's Leona that picks up the kill, but, you know, either way, it's the same story. If you don't do the control ward thing now, it can be pretty bad. So people are not gonna fall for this, like, trick of hiding in the bush and waiting for someone to walk by in, like, higher elo. But currently I'm like only in Diamond, so people are still falling for this trick. But you try something like that in Master, it's not really gonna work out, or like Grandmaster, etc. It's not really gonna work out. But anyways, back to talking about team comp. We have a really interesting team comp here now. I have a Leona with me, which is one of Tristana's best supports. Like when Leona goes all in, Tristana can just jump and go all in as well, which is beautiful for Tristana. But we have a Wukong in the jungle, and we have a Shen in the top lane, which is a very uncharacteristically tanky team for like solo queue. So basically this whole game, the main damage we have is only from me and Ahri, me for AD and Ahri for AP. But you know, Ahri is sort of, after she got that like mini rework, she kind of does a lot less damage now. So really the most of the damage should be coming from me. Here Yuumi gets caught. I immediately go on the Yuumi, and really unlucky here, Yuumi actually lives on like 0 HP there. And here I actually jump over, exhaust the Lucian, and Lucian was out of my exhaust range this whole time. I'm just blasting him, but of course I cannot pick up the kill, so unfortunately they both survive and Leona dies. So this is kind of a little bit of an unfortunate scenario, but hey, you know, we nearly got the kill on Yuumi. That could have gone, if that killed the Yuumi, we could have afterwards jumped to the Lucian and probably killed him too. But unfortunately, that was not what happened. So a little bit unlucky there. So as I was saying, after Ahri got like her mini rework, I think she does a lot less damage now because she's no longer about like being a one-shot assassin. She's more of like, it's not really like DPS, but it's sort of like, you know, she plays fights really slow. She catches someone out with the charm. Hopefully she and her team can burst them down. And then she like dashes in and out of the fight. She doesn't like just dash in, one-shot someone and dash out. She can do that if she's really fed. But in general, that's not really her playstyle anymore. So Ahri doesn't really do a lot of damage in my opinion unless you get very fed. So this game is kind of like the onus is kind of on me to really be the carry for my team and carry the fight in terms of damage at least. And yeah, so I do like this comp though. So here Tristana goes, not Tristana, Leona goes in perhaps a little bit early, also whiffs the ulti, and Shen comes in. Thankfully, with the help of the Shen, I can finish off the kill. However, Shen is going to pay for it with his life, a 1-for-1 trade. Here Echo comes in. Here I'm trying to blast the Echo. Echo goes all the way in. Nice ult by Wukong to actually knock out the Echo on the tower. Now unfortunately, because of the slow, I could not get out the way of the Echo Q which he threw out before he died. So unfortunately, because of that, I end up dying to the Echo Q post-mortem. Like, you know, really unlucky when that happens, but hey, you know, it did happen. We do have the Navori Quick Blades and Boots now. So 1-1 and 2. Not too bad. Pretty good start to the game. Could have been better, but hey, you know, at this current point in time, I believe we have the most gold in the game. Actually, no, Echo has a little bit more gold than us, but yeah, we're doing pretty all right. Alright, so here Leona catches onto the Lucian again. Here I'm jumping in. This time, nice ult by Leona does catch onto the Lucian. Here I'm trying to blast him down. I do get it, and I jump out the way of the Yuumi ultimate. Here, we're just going to quickly secure this scuttle. Ahri whiffs the charm though, so we don't get a pick onto Echo. So now I'm just going to head back over down to the lane and just simply just farm up the minions. So, with the control ward, sometimes you do want to shift it over to like the tri-bush, especially if you're playing like a more aggressive lane. This ensures the jungler can't come from behind in through the tri-bush, and also it's easy to kind of maintain that control ward there because you have pressure because you're being aggressive. So that's good. Here we actually wanted to reset, but the Wukong is kind of doing the dragon. Since we see Echo on the Herald, this is pretty much a free dragon, so we're just gonna help him pick it up just a little bit faster. Lucian tries to come in to ult the dragon, and basically ends up just donating his life again, finishing off the kill with my ultimate. And I'm just going to quickly clear out this wave before we back. Now, one of the drawbacks of this Tristana build, building no attack speed, is when you don't have Lethal Tempo stacked, which is like when you're clearing minions, for example, your attack speed feels really slow. Like, it literally is your default attack speed because you don't build any attack speed whatsoever. Now, this build's not for everyone. Like, I didn't really like this build the first time I tried it out, but after, like, you know, giving it a chance, I kind of do feel that it is better than, like, the STORMRAZER build. At least in, like, the mid and late game.
Top turret is under attack.
So overall, I'm kind of just fine. With this build, and here we're gonna just hit over back down into the bot lane.
Top turret is under attack.
Now here we were hoping that like Lucian would kind of just randomly walk up, but unfortunately he did not. Here Leona is still going for the engage though. Here I managed to jump over. Now unfortunately the split second hesitation on the ult there causes the Lucian to be able to dash out of the way, so unfortunately no kill for us there. However, we can still get a little bit of tower damage, especially because Tristana pushes towers really quickly. Of course, when the bomb procs, we gotta get out because we're gonna take tower aggro. So we are indeed just going to back off just a little bit and just pick up some fruit, keep ourselves healthy, and transfer the control ward back into the bush, of course, because we did put it in the dragon pit just now when we were taking the dragon, just as a precautionary measure, although we know that the Echo won't be there because we can see him on vision, but we never know who else might, you know, just randomly come because they have vision and just randomly steal. You know, those sort of things do happen. Now here for some reason, the Lucian and the Yuumi are not really ready to defend the wave, so because of that we can easily get the tower. I get the exhaust onto the Lucian, and I easily pick up the kill. Shen comes in with the taunt, and we are able to also pick up the kill onto Yuumi. Now, with that, we can reset and see if we can pick up our IE. Yes, IE completed. So here we got the 2-item power spike. You can see that we are now 4, 1, and 3. So we're getting pretty fed now, and things are kind of looking up. So here, nothing too much to do. We can go to the bot wave to farm because we don't really have vision of anyone other than Renekton. Now we can see like Teemo, Yuumi, and the rest of them all at mid. So we could have gone there, but at that point, we couldn't actually see them. So we don't want to, have any unnecessary risk by doing that. So anyways, here we're just gonna farm up the jungle. And then we're just going to clear out the mid wave, and yeah, pretty much nothing too much is happening here. You can see most of the enemy team is still mid for some reason. We get a catch onto the Echo, but Echo has ulti, so not really a very good catch. Anyways, here we managed to burst down the Teemo. I unfortunately died to Yuumi's Ignite and Teemo's Poison combo, which is really unfortunate. But yeah, anyways, here we have a very long extended chase of the Lucian. We're collapsing onto the Lucian, but Echo and Yuumi are kind of coming in from behind. Lucian manages to make it to the Renekton, and the Shen kind of ends up walking around like a headless chicken, to be very honest. Shen just gone straight onto the Lucian and all, and now Renekton is angry, and Renekton is going on to Leona. There goes Leona, and now he's going on to Wukong, and there goes Wukong as well. This fight was kind of really poorly played by my team here. Should have all like focused the same targets. Wukong turned around and focused the Echo, and then like Leona went in on Lucian, but Shen was kind of going in on Renekton and not really doing damage to Lucian, so it's kind of like really bad. Anyways, here the taunt comes in from the Shen, which allows me to actually pick up the kill with my ulti before Echo can ult, and then Yuumi is left with no owner, and we are able to kill her off as well. So this should be able to translate to a Herald, because their jungler is dead. Our jungler is of course on the way, but I don't think we really need him to pick this up. Again, I'm using the controller to make sure there is no enemy vision in this area, and we are able to pick up the Rift Herald. Now we have another fight here. Again, Ahri kind of whiffs the charm here. I'm trying to burst down the Renekton. Renekton is really tanky though. Lucian tickles me with the culling, and I do get blinded because of Teemo, so here I don't have any health. Teemo's Leandris is still ticking, so I can't quite recall. I'm pinging my team back because I do need to reset for health, and I also pick up the Zanya's Hourglass to, of course, get myself an extra layer of safety. Now I'm gonna head over towards the Dragon Pit area, where obviously a fight is gonna break out. Now Shen is also recalling, so here we really shouldn't fight. Wukong is pinging back as well. I'm just pinging them on my way, and here. Regardless, it's sort of a really awkward fight because I can't really walk in because Lucian and Echo have cut off my path into the pit. Here, I get exhausted, but I'm still able to finish off the Lucian, but as a result, like, I trade my life, and basically my whole team dies aside from Leona. It was kind of like a really bad fight because we were all kind of split up into different sides, which allowed the enemy team to sort of pick us off like one by one in small groups instead of us being a big collective group. So this kind of just really didn't work out. So yeah, it kind of didn't go too well. But yeah, but either way, personally, I'm still doing pretty good. Renekton and Echo are really fed on the enemy team though, and that is an issue when there is a Yuumi, because Yuumi on Echo or Yuumi on Renekton can be a very big issue. Now Lucian and Teemo at this point are not doing too hot, but of course the Echo and the Renekton is kind of making up for that. And here I end up face checking the bush here, and basically I end up using everything. I jump, I stasis, I flash, everything except my exhaust. But you know, because of obviously all this was kind of in panic and instinctual. But if I had calmed down like right at the beginning, I think what I should have done is I should have exhausted him, then jumped the wall, and then when he came over, then I could like, you know, proceed to use like my flash and my ulti as needed. But the fact I didn't use the exhaust made it such that he did a lot more damage than what he should have, and I kind of didn't actually play that really well. So quite a number of deaths for me in the past couple of minutes. That is definitely not what you want to see, definitely not what you want to do. But hey, you know, it's really good on them to camp that red buff bush, because someone's gonna walk to that bush, and it's kind of a tactic that I use from time to time as well. So got to like respect the brush camp that they did there. I'm not too upset about it, because I would have done the same thing if I had the opportunity to. Anyways, now we can see that they're all actually at bot. So here I'm trying to get in a collapse onto the bot lane. They're really overextended, and they're all the way to under the tower. Shen manages to buy us enough time to reach there. Here I'm going in with the jump, and here I'm trying to one-shot the Lucian. I think that my bomb will pick him up, and there we go, the bomb does pick him up. Here I'm trying to get the shutdown on the Renekton, and I do actually get that. I also get the kill onto the Yuumi. Unfortunately though, the Echo ult one-shots me. So now here we are left with a 1v1 between Echo and Wukong. Now Wukong should win this, but because Echo is really fat, it actually becomes kind of close, in the sense that if Wukong got hit by that stun, Echo would have gotten a shield as well, and it could have become a disaster. Thankfully though, that last auto does manage to kill the Echo before that happens, and because of that, it all goes well. So now here in this game, you won't really see me getting to full item build. Now I have like the two components of LDR, obviously because like Renekton is really tanky, and I also have bought myself the Executioner's Calling, which of course is mainly because there is like a Yuumi and there's like a Renekton, and there's just a lot of healing on the enemy team, so we gotta cut down that healing to even stand a shot at winning team fights. So that is exactly what I'm doing here, making sure that they have their healing reduced. Definitely helped in that last fight against the Renekton and the Yuumi. I think without it, we probably would have just died to them. So it really shows the importance of getting the anti-heal when it's necessary. Now here a fight kind of starts breaking out. Here I'm trying to blast the Renekton, but Renekton just dashes straight out the way. And yeah, nothing too much comes of it. Here I'm autoing the minions to proc my Navori to get my cooldowns back. Now I get my jump cooldown back, I can jump straight on in. I'm trying to blast the Echo. Echo's left at 1 HP. Shen ults me, I get the kill on Echo, allowing me to jump in and reset. I'm gonna try to get the Teemo as well. Now onto the Lucian, Renekton, and Yuumi. And we pretty much get everybody aside from Yuumi. And basically off of that, with Tristana's pushing power as well, we can quickly secure this tower, and then we can move on to the next tower. Like that. Now here Lucian kind of oversteps, gets hit by Leona's ulti, and you guys can see here, I'm only at like 2.5 items, and I can already do that to the Lucian. So imagine like Tristana like at full build. So here anyways, we are able to push through the mid lane and the top lane as well. Top lane of course with the help of the Herald. And now we're basically just going to blast the tower and pretty much just secure the game at this point. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this this new build and this video. I'll leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching, and goodbye.